Welcome to Sports Communications Topic 3. This is Topic 3, E-Sponsorship and Tourism Part 7, where we talk about sponsorship decisions. So how do companies decide on who they're going to sponsor? It's often a formal process, so it's an organisational buying process, and it's a decision-making process where organisations formally establish the need for a purchased product and service. They identify, they evaluate, and they choose amongst alternative brands and suppliers. You get solicited and unsolicited sponsorships. An average company receives hundreds of sponsorship proposals per annum. It is a purchase process. You need to remember that if you're actually going in expecting to get a company on board. You need to be different, you need to be aligned with the brand values, and you need to make a personal pitch. The decision process components. It's a complicated process. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play. There are multiple buying influences, thinking about all the people involved as well as where they spend their money. There's often some quite different buying motives depending on who's making the decision and where they're making it. There's often quite a lot of technical complexity if you think about the contracts that we've looked at and all the things we need to think about how we get out of things. There's also a lot of time lag between a proposal and somebody being signed up. You're not going to get this organised in a month. And it needs to meet the needs of organisational diversity, and that's something that doesn't often get talked about. So don't forget to read Morgan and Summers. They go into this very, very well. Sponsorship stages. First of all, choosing your sponsorship, then activation, then leverage, then service, then evaluation. We're going to go and look at all these stages as we work through this particular topic. First of all, choosing it. So why would anyone want to sponsor anything? You've got to come up with really clear reasons, like what can you do for me, what's it's worth to me, who cares, and so what. So you've got to link all that stuff clearly to the sponsor so that they can understand why your audience would be interested in their product and how their audience will benefit from it. There's a particularly good article at Slow Twitch. We'll go and take a quick look. This is by Dan Empfield, and he goes through talking about the reasons for a triathlete to have a sponsor. Why would a bank want to make an investment? So he talks through a whole range of assumptions, and this is a really useful article to read about the key reasons why you would want to organise a sponsor. The considerations you need to go through. First of all, you've got to think about the athlete, their success, the sport, and the characteristics of the athlete. If you've got a single athlete, it's a lot more risky than having a team. If you've got a team, again, the success, their sport, and their image. If you're thinking about an event or a league sponsorship, you need to think about the image, the participants, the sport, the level that it's at as opposed to elite versus recreational. Or if it's a facility, what the facility is like and what the image of the facility is, what the longevity of the facility is, what the unique aspects of the facility are. With regard to making a decision, you need to think about how new the problem is and how new the sponsorship is. If you look at the pocket, the high there, if it's a first time buying situation, then people are going to need a lot of good quality information in order to want to make that decision. If you're rebuying, then you're going to need a medium amount of information. If it's a straight rebuy with no change, then people aren't going to want too much information at all. You need to think about the information requirements. If it's a new sponsorship, they want as much info as they can get. If it's a modified rebuy, they want a bit of information. If it's a straight rebuy, they want very little. If they're going to consider new alternatives, if it's a new sponsorship, they're going to want to compare it to everything. If it's a rebuy, they may or may not want to consider alternatives. If it's a straight rebuy, they aren't going to be even interested. So you need to think about where your particular situation lies on this graph, because that helps you put yourselves in the sponsor's shoes.